There is a war happening inside you right now. You do not see it. Most people never do. But it is there. Every moment, every decision, every breath. On one side stands the self you could become. Disciplined, unmovable, clear. On the other side stands the self you have been. Reactive, distracted, controlled by circumstance. Miyamoto Musashi understood this war better than anyone who has ever lived. He fought over 60 duels. He was never defeated, not because he was the strongest, not because he was the fastest, but because he had won the only battle that truly matters, the battle against himself. Most people lose this battle every single day. They surrender to impulse, to distraction, to comfort, to fear. They are moved by the world instead of moving through it. Musashi called this Heijoshin, the unshakable mind, a mind that does not react, a mind that does not break, a mind that cannot be controlled by anything outside itself. This is not about combat. This is about living. Because every day you face opponents, not with swords, but with words, with pressure, with expectation, with your own weakness. And every day you either master yourself or you are mastered by everything else. Musashi spent his entire life perfecting one thing, not swordsmanship, self-mastery. And he left behind a path, not for warriors, for anyone willing to walk it. This is that path. If you are ready to stop being controlled by your emotions, your distractions, your fear, write one phrase in the comments. I master myself. Not for validation, not for me, for you. Let that be your first disciplined act today. Now we begin. Chapter 1. Mastery begins with seeing the enemy. Musashi did not defeat his opponents by studying them. He defeated them by studying himself. Before every duel, he would observe. Not his enemy, his own mind, his breathing, his tension, his fear, his distraction. He understood something most people refuse to accept. The real enemy is not outside. It is inside. You do not fail because the world is hard. You fail because you do not see what controls you. You wake up, you reach for your phone before your feet touch the ground. You feel anger, you react before you think. You face discomfort, you avoid before you decide. This is not freedom. This is automation. You are being lived, not living. Musashi called this state mayoi, delusion, the fog that covers the mind and makes you believe you are in control when you are not. The first principle of mastery is brutal honesty. You must see yourself clearly, without justification, without excuse. What controls you? Is it validation? The need to be seen, to be praised, to be recognized? Is it comfort? The avoidance of anything difficult, anything that requires effort? Is it fear? The hesitation before action, the retreat before risk? You cannot master what you do not see. Most people go through life blind to their own patterns. They repeat the same mistakes. They wonder why nothing changes. The reason is simple. They refuse to look. Musashi spent years in solitude, not to escape the world, to see himself without distortion, to strip away the excuses, the stories, the justifications. What remained was the truth, and the truth was this: he was his own obstacle. Every fear, every hesitation, every distraction, It all came from within. The world did not defeat him. He defeated himself, until he stopped, until he learned to see. This is where your mastery begins. Not with action, with awareness. Sit with yourself. No phone, no music, no distraction. 5 minutes. Just observe. What thoughts arise? What impulses surface? What discomfort do you feel? Do not judge. Do not resist. Just see. Because the enemy you do not acknowledge is the enemy that controls you, and you cannot fight what you cannot see. Chapter 2. The self you know is not the self you are. Musashi wrote, "Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world." He did not mean to diminish yourself. He meant to release the false image you carry. Most people live according to a story, a narrative they have constructed about who they are. I am not a morning person. I am not good with discipline. I am not capable of that. These are not truths. These are beliefs. And beliefs, when left unquestioned, become prisons. Musashi understood that identity is not fixed. It is constructed. What you call yourself is simply a collection of patterns, habits repeated until they feel permanent. But nothing about you is permanent. Everything can be rewritten. The self you know is not the self you are. It is only the self you have practiced being. You have practiced distraction, so you believe you cannot focus. You have practiced avoidance, so you believe you cannot endure. You have practiced comfort, so you believe you cannot be disciplined. But practice works both ways. You can practice focus. You can practice endurance. You can practice discipline. And if you practice long enough, those things become who you are. Musashi was not born unshakable. He became unshakable. Through repetition, through discipline, through relentless self-examination, he questioned everything he believed about himself, and he discarded what did not serve him. The belief that he needed approval, discarded. The belief that he needed comfort, discarded. The belief that he was limited by his past, discarded. What remained was essence, pure capability. This is your task, to separate truth from story. The truth is, you are capable of extraordinary discipline. The story is, you have chosen not to practice it. There is no shame in this, but there is consequence. The consequence is weakness, not of body, of will. And will is everything. Musashi lived by will alone. He had no master, no wealth, no support. Only the decision to become what he intended. You have the same choice. You can continue to live according to the story you have told yourself, or you can begin to write a new one, not with words, with action. Every disciplined choice is a sentence in that new story. Every undisciplined choice is a return to the old one. The self you know is not the self you are. It is only the self you have been. Who you become is still unwritten. Chapter 3. Control the mind. Control everything. Musashi never entered a duel with emotion. Not anger, not fear, not even excitement. He entered with mushin, the mind like still water, calm, reflective, unshaken. This is the core of all mastery. The world does not respond to how you feel. It responds to what you do. And what you do is determined entirely by the state of your mind. Most people are controlled by their emotions. They feel anger, so they lash out. They feel fear, so they freeze. This is not strength. This is slavery. You are being controlled by internal forces you do not command. Musashi understood that emotions are not orders. They are information. You feel fear. That is data. It tells you something is uncertain. It does not tell you to stop. You feel anger. That is energy. It can be used. It does not mean you must react. You feel desire. That is impulse. It can be observed. It does not mean you must indulge. The untrained mind obeys emotion. The trained mind uses it. This is the difference between mastery and mediocrity. When you control your mind, you control your reaction. When you control your reaction, you control the outcome, not the external outcome. You cannot control that, but the internal outcome, your behavior, your clarity, your composure, and that is the only outcome that matters. Musashi never lost because he never gave anything away. No openings, no tells, no reactions. He remained still until stillness no longer served him. Then he moved. Once. Precisely. Without hesitation. This is the discipline of the controlled mind. You do not respond to everything. You respond to what matters. You do not react to every provocation. You act according to principle. The world will try to move you. It will provoke you, test you, push you toward emotion. Let it try. You remain still, not because you are passive, but because you are sovereign. You decide when to move. You decide when to speak. You decide when to act. No one else. This requires practice, daily practice. When someone insults you, observe the emotion. Do not act on it. Just see it. When something frustrates you, feel the tension. Do not release it reflexively. Just hold it. When you want something, notice the desire. Do not chase it immediately. Just wait. This is not suppression. This is authority. You are training your mind to obey you, not your circumstances, not your emotions. You. Musashi trained this way every day, in stillness, in silence, in observation, until his mind became unshakable. Yours can too. But only if you practice. Chapter 4. Discipline is the architecture of freedom. Musashi lived by routine. He woke at the same time. He trained at the same time. He ate at the same time. Not because he was rigid, but because he was free. Most people misunderstand discipline. They see it as restriction, a cage, a loss of freedom. They are wrong. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom. It is the foundation. Without discipline, you are not free. You are chaotic, reactive, at the mercy of impulse and circumstance. Musashi could move freely in combat because his training had made every movement instinctive. He did not think about his stance. His body knew. He did not hesitate before striking. His training decided. He was free to act because discipline had removed hesitation. This is the paradox most people never understand. The more disciplined you are, the more freedom you have. Because discipline removes obstacles, internal obstacles, the hesitation, the doubt, the fear, the distraction. What remains is capability, and capability, when refined, becomes freedom. You want the freedom to create? Build the discipline to work every day. You want the freedom to speak confidently? Build the discipline to know your subject deeply. You want the freedom to act without fear. Build the discipline to face discomfort repeatedly. Discipline is preparation, and preparation creates freedom. Musashi did not train because he enjoyed training. He trained because training made him capable, and capability allowed him to live without limitation. He could walk into any situation, face any opponent, endure any hardship. Not because he was naturally gifted, but because he had prepared himself thoroughly. This is your path as well. You do not need to love discipline. You need to understand what discipline gives you. It gives you reliability, the ability to act regardless of how you feel. It gives you clarity, the removal of chaos and distraction. It gives you strength, not physical strength, the strength to endure when others quit. And most importantly, it gives you freedom. Freedom from your own weakness. Freedom from your own excuses. Freedom from dependency on motivation or inspiration. Musashi needed neither. He had discipline, and discipline carried him through everything. Every disciplined action you take is an investment in your future freedom. Every undisciplined action is a debt you will pay later. Most people spend their lives in debt, controlled by habits they never chose, trapped by patterns they never examined. Musashi lived in surplus because he built the structure that supported his life: routine, discipline, commitment, not because it felt good, but because it worked. This is the way. Build the structure, follow it without exception, and watch as freedom emerges from discipline. Chapter 5. Remove everything that does not serve. Musashi owned almost nothing: a sword, a brush, a few scrolls, the clothes on his back. That was all. He did not accumulate. He eliminated. Not because he was ascetic, but because he understood weight. Everything you carry slows you down. Physical possessions, mental clutter, emotional attachments. All of it is weight. And weight makes you vulnerable. Musashi called this principle Munen: no attachment, no unnecessary thought. He moved through life with precision. No wasted effort. No wasted energy. No wasted attention. Everything he kept served a purpose. Everything else was released. This is mastery, not the accumulation of more, the elimination of what does not serve. Look at your life. What are you carrying? Habits that drain your energy, relationships that weaken your resolve, distractions that fragment your focus, possessions you do not use, commitments you do not value, thoughts you do not need. Let them go. Not out of cruelty, out of clarity. You cannot master yourself while burdened by the unnecessary. Most people live with so much noise: mental noise, physical noise, emotional noise. They wonder why they cannot focus, why they cannot find peace. The answer is simple. They are carrying too much. Musashi understood that mastery requires space, space to think, space to move, space to be. And space is created through elimination. Every possession you own demands attention, maintenance, storage, mental energy. Every relationship you maintain requires time, emotion, consideration. Every commitment you accept consumes bandwidth. You have limited resources, limited energy, limited attention. Spend them wisely. Musashi spent his only on what mattered: his training, his art, his path. Everything else was irrelevant. This does not mean you must live like a monk. It means you must live with intention. Ask yourself, does this serve my mastery? Does this move me toward the person I intend to become? If the answer is no, release it. Not someday. Now. Delete the apps that steal your time. End the conversations that drain your energy. Remove the clutter that crowds your space. Clear the mental noise that clouds your mind. Simplicity is not deprivation, it is focus. And focus is the edge that separates masters from everyone else. Musashi lived simply so he could act decisively. No hesitation, no distraction, no divided attention, just clarity. And action. This is your task. To become ruthless with what you allow into your life. Not cruel, discerning. Keep only what serves. Release everything else. The lighter you are, the faster you move. The less you carry, the further you go. Mastery is not addition. It is subtraction. Remove everything that does not serve. Chapter 6. Repetition forges the unbreakable. Musashi did not become undefeated by accident. He became undefeated through 10,000 repetitions, 10,000 strikes, 10,000 stances, 10,000 breaths, until his body knew without thinking, until reaction became reflex. This is the secret most people ignore. They want transformation. They want change. They want mastery. But they do not want repetition. They want the result without the process. It does not work that way. Mastery is not a single act. It is 1,000 acts, repeated until they become identity. You do not become disciplined by deciding once to be disciplined. You become disciplined by acting with discipline every single day until discipline becomes who you are. Most people underestimate the power of repetition. They see it as boring, mundane, beneath them. Musashi saw it as the only path. He did not seek novelty. He refined the fundamentals, over and over, until perfection became automatic. The strike, the stance, the breath, the stillness. Not once, not 10 times, 10,000 times, until there was no separation between intention and action. This is how the unbreakable self is built. Not in moments of inspiration, but in the repetition of disciplined action. One day of discipline will not change you, but 100 days will. One workout will not build strength, but 100 will. 1 hour of focus will not rewire your mind, but 100 hours will. Repetition is the crucible, and you are the metal being forged. Every repetition adds density, adds strength, adds reliability, until you become something that cannot be broken. Most people quit because they do not see immediate results. They train for a week and expect transformation. Musashi trained for decades, and he understood that transformation is invisible until it is undeniable. You do not see the tree grow, but every day it grows. You do not see the mountain erode, but every day the wind shapes it. You do not see mastery forming, but every disciplined action builds it. The compound effect of repetition is the most powerful force in self-mastery. Small actions, repeated daily, without exception. This is how you change. Not through intensity, through consistency. Musashi did not train harder than everyone else. He trained longer. He trained more consistently. And over time, consistency became dominance. This is your path. Choose the actions that serve your mastery, the habits that build your strength, the practices that sharpen your mind. Then repeat them, not when you feel like it, every day, not when it is convenient, regardless of circumstance, not when you are motivated, especially when you are not, because motivation is fleeting, discipline is permanent, and permanence is built through repetition. Musashi knew this, he lived it, and it made him undefeatable, not because he was special, but because he repeated the fundamentals until they became unbreakable. You can do the same, but only if you commit to the repetition. No shortcuts, no exceptions, no excuses, just the work, repeated, every single day. Chapter 7. Stillness in chaos is the ultimate weapon. Musashi faced opponents who were stronger, faster, more experienced. He defeated them all, not through superior force, through superior stillness. While they moved, he observed. While they reacted, he remained calm. While they revealed themselves, he waited. And then he moved. Once. With precision. This is the principle of Fudoshin, the immovable mind. Not immovable in the sense of frozen, immovable in the sense of unshaken. The world will come at you. It will provoke you, test you, try to destabilize you. Your power is not in how you react. It is in how you remain still. Most people lose composure when pressure increases. They panic, they rush, they make mistakes. Musashi understood that chaos is the moment when stillness becomes most valuable, because clarity sees what panic cannot. When everyone around you is emotional, you are strategic. When everyone around you is reactive, you are intentional. When everyone around you is loud, you are silent. And silence, when used with precision, is the most powerful force. This does not mean inaction. It means restraint. You do not act until action serves you. You do not speak until words carry weight. You do not move until movement has purpose. Musashi waited. He watched. He allowed his opponents to exhaust themselves, to reveal their patterns, to make errors. And when the opening appeared, he ended it, decisively. This is the way of the immovable mind. You do not waste energy on what does not matter. You conserve, you focus, you strike when the moment is right. In modern life, this looks like restraint. You do not argue with everyone who challenges you. You do not defend yourself against every accusation. You do not react to every provocation. You remain still, observing, deciding, acting only when it serves your purpose. This requires immense discipline, because your instinct is to react, to defend, to prove. Musashi trained himself out of instinct. He trained himself into intention. Every action was deliberate. Every word was calculated. Every movement had purpose. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was reactive. This is the discipline of stillness, and it is the hardest discipline of all, because the world rewards reaction. It rewards emotion. It rewards noise. But mastery rewards stillness. When you remain calm while others panic, you gain the advantage. When you remain silent while others argue, you gain perspective. When you remain still while others rush, you gain clarity. And clarity is the weapon that defeats everything. Musashi won his duels before they began, not because he was faster, but because he was clearer. He saw the outcome before it happened, because his mind was still. Yours can be too, but only if you train it. Every time you feel the impulse to react, pause, just for one breath. Every time you feel the urge to speak, wait, just for one moment. Every time you feel pressure, observe it. Do not act on it immediately. This is training. And over time, stillness becomes natural, until you move through chaos like water through stone, unmoved, unshaken, in complete control. Chapter 8. The Master serves no one but himself. Musashi had no lord, no master, no school, no allegiance. He walked alone, not out of pride, out of necessity. Because mastery cannot be given. It can only be claimed. Most people wait for permission. They wait for approval. They wait for validation. They wait for someone to tell them they are ready. Musashi did not wait. He decided. And then he became. This is the final principle of self-mastery. You do not need anyone's permission. You do not need anyone's approval. You do not need anyone's validation. You need only your own commitment. The moment you stop seeking external authority is the moment you claim internal authority, and internal authority is the only authority that matters. Musashi answered to no one, not because he was arrogant, but because he had become his own standard. He knew his principles. He knew his path. He knew what he would and would not accept from himself, and he held himself to those standards without compromise. This is the mark of mastery. You do not rely on external accountability. You create internal sovereignty. You do not need someone to push you. You push yourself. You do not need someone to discipline you. You discipline yourself. You do not need someone to validate your growth. You measure it yourself. The Master serves no one but himself, not out of selfishness, but out of responsibility. He does not follow the crowd. He does not obey trends. He does not bend to judgment. He moves according to principle, his own principle. And those principles are law. This is the hardest part of mastery. Because humans crave belonging, approval, validation. Musashi gave up all of it, not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. He could not become who he needed to become while seeking approval from those who had not walked his path. He could not master himself while answering to external authority. So he walked alone, and in that solitude, he became unbreakable. This is your final task, not to find a master, but to become one. Master of your time, master of your mind, master of your actions, master of yourself. You do not need permission to start. You do not need validation to continue. You do not need approval to finish. You need only the decision to stop waiting, to stop seeking, to stop asking, and to simply become. Musashi became a master because he decided to, and then he acted on that decision every single day, without exception, without excuse, without compromise. You can do the same. But you must stop waiting for someone to give you permission. No one will. You must claim it yourself. And then you must prove it to yourself, every day, through action. The master serves no one but himself, because the master knows that self-mastery is the only mastery that endures. Everything else is borrowed. Everything else is conditional. But what you build within yourself cannot be taken, cannot be lost, cannot be shaken. That is sovereignty. And sovereignty is the final prize of mastery. For the next 14 days, you will train as Musashi trained, not with a sword, with discipline. Every morning, before anything else, you will sit in silence for 5 minutes. No phone, no music, no distraction. You will observe your mind. You will see the thoughts that arise. You will name the patterns. You will not judge them. You will simply see. Then you will choose one disciplined action for that day. One action that serves the person you are becoming. It does not need to be large. It needs to be intentional. You will complete that action, regardless of how you feel, regardless of circumstance. At the end of each day, you will reflect. You will ask one question. Did I master myself today? You will not expect perfection. You will measure intention. For 14 days, you will do this without exception. No excuses, no negotiations, no justifications. Just the practice. If you commit to this path, write in the comments, I walk the way. 14 days, that is all. This is not motivation. This is training. This is not inspiration. This is discipline. Musashi did not become undefeated through a single decision. He became undefeated through 14,000 decisions, one every day. For decades. You do not need decades. You need 2 weeks. 2 weeks to prove to yourself that you can master yourself, that you are not controlled by impulse, by distraction, by weakness, that you are capable of discipline, of stillness, of commitment. The path is long, but it begins with one step. Take it now.